The Winter of Red Snow, The Revolutionary War Diary of Abigail Jane Stewart, Valley Forge, Pennsylvania, 1777. Reading 6. January 25th, 1778, Sunday. It is warmer, but still we leave Johnny inside. Sally and I stayed home with him so Mama could go to services. I finished mending Sally's doll dress and sewed its arm back on. Mr. and Mrs. Smith came to supper. We have a family in Philadelphia and are worried for their safety. Papa and Mr. Smith talked about taking a big wagon while the weather's fair, then returning with as many as will come. But Edward, Mama said, thee could be shot, mistaken for spies. Please don't go. We shall be all right, Papa told her. Many do it already. You've seen the wives bringing food back and forth, yes? They've not been shot. They were still talking when we girls took out our candle upstairs to bed. I tried to listen, but was too sleepy. January 26th, 1778, Monday. Beefsteak pie for breakfast. Papa and Mr. Smith have decided to leave in an hour. I am hurriedly writing this because we are choosing 2 of us to go with them, so that our little cousins will be at ease. I have just heard my name called, and Lucy's, Mr. Smith's daughter. She's 15. My dear sister said I may wear her cloak, her beautiful blue cloak. I'm truly going. January 30th, 1778, Friday. Valley Forge. It is late and everyone sleeps. I'm still too stirred up from the past few days and must put it all down before I can rest. I do hope this candle will last. It's as short as my thumb, so I will hurry. The road to Philadelphia was 18 miles of mud and ruts that made us turn and bump where we wanted not to. Lucy and I shared a blanket and a foot warmer because of the wind. Papa was right. There are many travelers to and from Valley Forge. At the outpost pickets the guards we saw were busy questioning and searching. It is a crime to sell provisions to the enemy, but people do it anyway because the redcoats pay in silver, coin, and gold. The Continental Army pays in paper. Mr. Smith said it is worthless paper, that's why so many civilians are willing to take the risk. Philadelphia streets are paved in the middle for carriages with a footpath of hard brick on each side. Cobblestones are bumpy, but much easier on our poor wagon. Everything seemed new and wondrous, as I'd not been here since I was small, about Sally's age. Lucy and I stared with delight at the houses with lace curtains and painted shutters, outdoor lamps to light the way, and tall carriages drawn by matching horses. There were ladies in fine dresses with velvet cloaks and bonnets. An assortment of boys, tall and small, hurried along the streets and lanes carrying boxes. Papa said they were wig makers' apprentices delivering freshly curled and powdered wigs to the arrogant rich, he said. Philadelphians who'd rather spend money on themselves than to help our starving soldiers. There should be a law against such vanities in the time of war. Lucy and I looked at each other. It hardly seemed we were in the middle of a war with enemies everywhere. Such was a feeling of gaiety. Shops were open, bells on the doors tinkled when we entered. We purchased nothing, but only wanted to find our uncles, who are also cobblers. One is a silversmith. Auntie Haney lives with her husband above their little bakery. How happy she was to see us, and she's expecting another baby, I could tell from her full apron. But when Papa learned she sells bread to the British commander, he was silent. How could she? General William Howe is our enemy. He and his aides are quartered just across the street, down 4 houses. And Haney asked us this: would we like to meet him? He's very nice. I thought Papa would collapse with anger. Candle is going. January 31st, 1778, Saturday. It's late again. Busy all day helping Mama with extra laundry from a general whose name I forget. There are so many shirts hanging, many of Irish linen. We must duck between the rafters. More to say about Philadelphia. Papa allowed us to stay with Auntie Haney. The next day, Tuesday, I think, we went with Mr. Smith to call on their brothers, while Lucy and I stayed to help Haney cook and tend her 5 little ones. But we each did a terrible thing. First, Lucy. During the baby's naps, we went into the tiny shop next door. It is just 4 feet wide, and there is a wood sign above the door that says wig maker. While I was admiring ribbons on his front window, I heard the sound of scissors. Before I could say a word, Lucy had allowed the stranger to cut off her beautiful brown hair for 9 shillings. I could speak not. An English officer might be the next customer. Lucy is so wilful and headstrong, she just tied on her bonnet and curtsied. In the street she said to me, "It shall be days before Papa finds out, and by then he shall be so pleased to have silver coin it will not matter. Dost thou know that the countrywoman's hair is considered far superior than that of one from the city, Abigail?" I knew not what to say. I promised not to tell, but I worry that Lucy's pride will get her in trouble some day. Now, to confess my deed, I see no harm truly. I delivered rum cakes and strudel to the British general. It was just for fun to see an Englishman up close, but still I dare not tell Papa. February 1st, 1778, Sunday. Elizabeth finished her coat this morning and very prettily embroidered her name inside the left lapel. My hunting shirt needs repair because I sewed part of the front sleeve to the back sleeve so that no arm can get through. To continue about last week. Auntie Haney gave me a clean starched apron and a basket to hang on my arm. Into it she put 2 plates of strudel with pecan icing and 13 rum cakes the size of my hand. "This is her baker's dozen," she explained. Auntie Haney pointed me to the tall brick house down the lane. I hurried and rapped the brass knocker 3 times. A negro opened the door and showed me to a parlor where a stout man stood in front of the fire, lighting his pipe. He wore a scarlet waistcoat with a white vest, black knickers, white silk stockings, and pumps with silver buckles. His knickers were tied at the knee with double bows. I curtsied, then held out the basket. He said, "Mrs. Loring, wilt thou see what we have here?" She was the most beautiful, with blonde hair twisted grandly on her head. Her dress was of peach-colored satin. "It's for tea, I'm sure, Billy. Come sit," she smiled, then dismissed me with a nod. I backed out of the room as the man entered through another door. He was quite round also, with thick lips, and also addressed as Lord something or other. His eyes were so pop-eyed he looked as if he had just swallowed a snake. There were 2 other men in red waistcoats. They sat in parlor chairs and crossed their legs. All attention was on the tea cart and the basket of sweets. No one noticed I was lingering. One of the men, he was plumpest of all, picked up a cake and spread butter on it with his thumb. Auntie later explained that Billy is General Sir William Howe's, England's commander. She blushed to tell me that Mrs. Loring is his mistress. She had disgraced the Patriots because she's married to another man, an American officer. Twice more I delivered cakes and bread to the brick house. The 3rd day, Sir Billy wasn't there. He was playing cards at the Indian Queen Cafe, where he often enjoys late suppers. Now that I'm home again, I've decided not to be so angry at our soldiers when they take things from us. Our enemies, 20,000, Papa says, are sleeping in warm featherbeds, eating sweets and playing cards, while General Washington holds his men together with threads. I've also decided that when English returns to their fat king across the Atlantic, I shall confess to Mama and Papa that I served the British commander, but not before. At the moment they are too upset. None of our relatives would leave Philadelphia, and none felt ashamed about accepting gold coin from the enemy. "Business is business," mine uncle said to Papa. February 2nd, 1778, Monday. When Beth and I picked up Mr. Washington's laundry, Billy Lee drew us aside. "Lady Washington is coming from Mount Vernon," he said. "She should be here soon, and Mr. Washington wonders if you and your kind mother would help her upstairs to make the sitting room, what he says, more suitable. It do need a lady touch, Mrs." When he told this to Mamma, she sat down, wiping her red hands on her apron. "Whatever do we have to do to offer the General's lady?" she said. "She hath culture, and is one of the most wealthiest women in the colonies. Daughters, I need to think. Can you serve up a nice pot of tea?" February 3rd, 1778, Tuesday. It's sunny and warm. The path to the headquarters is mud, not snow, and I need not wear my blanket. There is clutter on the 2nd floor, so we arranged the boxes in smaller trunks at one end of the hallway, in what is to be Lady Washington's sitting room. It has a cheerful view of the creek. We brought in a dressing table with a looking glass, and Billy Lee showed us where to position the bed. It's 4 posters at one time and had curtains to draw across for warmth, but now they're gone. Mama wants to sew some herself, but our last cloth went for Elizabeth's bounty coat and my hunting shirt, which I still have not repaired and have no desire to. February 4th, 1778, Wednesday. General Washington sent Colonel Meade below Wilmington to meet Mrs. Washington's coach. He worries she's been delayed. Papa drove Elizabeth to the outer camp to deliver her coat. She told me a soldier on guard duty grabbed it and quickly slipped his thin arms through the sleeves. When he thanked her, she saw he was missing his top teeth and spoke with a coarse accent. After we climbed the stairs for bed, she burst into sobs. "Oh, Abby, I'm so ashamed of myself," she wept, "but I wanted a handsome soldier, truly." I held her hand until she fell asleep. I wanted to comfort her, but my thought was that 2 good things have happened. A cold soldier was made warm, and he thanked her. February 5th, 1778, Thursday. Again woke to drums and fifes. I worry not so much about the British since I've seen how plump and lazy their officers are, so we took our time eating our morning potato, hot with fried bacon on top. How shocked we were to see who was being drummed out of the army. A woman. She sat backwards, her legs, thankfully hidden by wide skirts, draped over the horse's flanks. Who, we asked, among these peoples gathering at the edge of the camp? Why? This is what Reverend Curry told us, for he visited with the poor woman yesterday. Mary Johnson is her name. She was caught trying to tempt our soldiers to ride with her into Philadelphia, where they'd have warm beds and plenty of food, courtesy of Sir Billy. Her sentence, 100 lashes and drummed out of the army. I put my hands over my ears because I could bear to hear no more. 100 lashes on a woman's back. At supper I had no appetite. Papa told us that the women who'd been passing freely through the lines of each army now will be stopped. Only generals themselves will issue permits. Who knows what damage hath been done, or by woman or by man, Papa said. He glanced at me, or by child. I kept my eyes down. Did he know about Lucy's hair, or that I curtsied to the British general?